This is goodbye. Enjoy your descent into hell with that creepy kid.
One day, I developed mysterious spots on my face and my body quickly wasted away, making me look like a ghost. I had to be hospitalized. And during my stay, my husband Nicholas left our young daughter Sophia and moved out. In a panic, I rushed home, only to find a divorce form with Nicholas's name on it, and a loan agreement making me a co-signer without my consent on the dining table. Confused by this sudden turn of events, I hurriedly messaged Nicholas. He replied soon after. That loan is compensation for the precious 10 years you stole from me. Meeting and marrying you is a waste of my life. You'll pay for that.
Pay for what? What have I done?
I was speechless at Nicholas's words. As I stood there confused, checking the account to transfer the debt repayment, Sophia shouted, "Absolutely not!"
Sophia, but I have no idea what should I do.
As I muttered this, Sophia smiled and said, "Don't worry, I've got it covered."
What?
A week later, I would understand the meaning behind her words.
My name is Claire.
I met Nicholas at a mixer and we got married. Nicholas was abandoned by his biological parents and has no family. His desire to build a warm family in the future drew me to him, leading to our marriage and the birth of Sophia. Nicholas adored Sophia when she was born, but as she grew and started speaking, things changed between them. Sophia was a bright and kind child, but occasionally she did strange things like talking to someone invisible.
Sophia would repeat mysterious actions, pointing to empty spaces and saying, "The old lady over there told me."
When I questioned her, there's no one there, right?
Sophia would proudly respond, "You just can't see her, Mom. She is there." Sometimes Sophia would say harsh words to Nicholas that didn't seem fit for a child, like, "I can't forgive you." Silly boy.
Every time she said such things, Nicholas would get furious, yelling, "What are you saying to your dad?"
In a panic, I would scold Sophia. What are you saying? That's terrible to say to your dad.
But then Sophia would look around confused, saying, "Huh? Did I say something?"
At first, I thought she was pretending to forget, but she genuinely didn't remember those moments.
This continued, and Nicholas began to avoid Sophia, calling her creepy.
I told him don't avoid her.
And Sophia apologized. "I'm sorry for saying awful things to you, Dad."
But Nicholas coldly replied, "Don't think a simple sorry will make it all right."
Little by little, our family's atmosphere deteriorated as Sophia began to look sad, and I grew frustrated with my Nicholas's childish behavior. Worried, I took Sophia to psychiatrists and neurologists, but they found nothing abnormal. The doctors suggested that her talking to an imaginary friend might be the reason for her conversations with the unseen. However, they were puzzled about her occasional transformation and harsh words towards Nicholas.
"Excuse me, but has your husband ever done something terrible to Sophia?" asked the doctor.
I shook my head. I don't think so.
"I see. In that case, she might have a split personality. Let's continue with counseling and keep an eye on Sophia's condition."
The doctor's words made me nod with anxiety about what would happen to Sophia. Despite regular counseling sessions, Sophia continued talking to someone invisible, and Nicholas kept avoiding her. This situation was deeply troubling to me. One night, as I slept in my bedroom, I heard a woman's voice saying, "If only you weren't here," and felt someone choking me. Waking up gasping for air, I saw a furious woman I didn't recognize. That's when I suddenly woke up.
Thank goodness it was just a dream.
But the next day and the night after, I had the same terrifying dream. This made waking up awful. Fear of these nightmares made it hard for me to sleep, leaving me constantly exhausted and dizzy. I started feeling sick and dull all the time. My appetite vanished, my body quickly became thin, and clumps of my hair fell out. Worst of all, mysterious large black spots appeared on my skin. When I visited the local clinic, the doctor was just as perplexed and couldn't determine the cause.
Sophia, worried about me, asked gently, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help?"
However, Nicholas, far from being concerned, started avoiding me like I was a monster, saying, "You're disgusting." And if I ever took a break from household chores, he would arrogantly say, "You can't stop doing household chores. That's your job."
His lack of empathy infuriated me, but my illness was so severe that I couldn't afford to think about him anymore.
Even so, I tried to keep up with household chores and my job as much as possible. But one day, reaching my physical and mental limits, I collapsed in the middle of the city and was rushed to the hospital.
Once admitted, Nicholas came to my room, and I asked him, please take care of Sophia.
He made an obviously reluctant face and asked, "When will you be well enough to leave the hospital?"
I don't know. Just please take care of Sophia for now.
I replied. He clicked his tongue and said, "Lucky you, getting to push your responsibilities onto others just because you're sick." Then he left the room.
His uncaring attitude made me worry. Can I really trust Nicholas with Sophia?
My fears were confirmed when, a few days later, Sophia called me saying Dad's gone.
In a panic, I convinced the doctor, who said it was too risky for me to leave the hospital, and I hurried home.
When I got there, Nicholas was indeed gone, leaving only a worried-looking Sophia.
Do you know where he went?
When I asked Sophia, she just shook her head, looking troubled. On the dining table, I was shocked to find a divorce form with Nicholas's signature and a copy of an unfamiliar loan agreement. Nicholas's name was listed as the borrower, and mine was in the cosigner section, with an unrecognizable signature next to it. I had no memory of signing such a document. In a hurry, I messaged Nicholas.
Where are you now?
He replied almost immediately.
"Ah, you noticed earlier than I thought. Did Sophia tell you?
Where are you? I asked you to take care of Sophia.
We're getting divorced. Didn't you see the divorce form? So I don't care about you guys anymore."
Huh? Why would you decide that on your own?
I was furious, but Nicholas responded,
"If I brought up divorce directly, you'd oppose it, right?"
Of course, I can't take care of Sophia in this state. Or were you planning to take Sophia with you? But since you left her, that's not the case, is it?
Exactly. I don't need a creepy daughter and a sick wife. Just submit those divorce forms.
His complete rejection of Sophia and me left me in a state of shock. As I stood there dazed, Nicholas continued with another message.
"Oh, and you better pay off the debt. You're the cosigner."
This snapped me back to reality, and I confronted him. What's this loan about? You were in debt, and why am I the cosigner?
"Yeah, I copied your signature to make you a cosigner.
What? Why should I bear the burden of your debt?
It's compensation for the precious 10 years you stole from me. Meeting and marrying you was a waste of my life. You'll pay for that."
Compensation for what? What have I done?
His words left me speechless. Without responding, he sent one final message.
"Well, this is goodbye then. Enjoy your descent into hell with that creepy kid." After that, no matter how many messages I sent, I received no response from Nicholas.
I stood frozen in place, overwhelmed by the shocking truths he revealed, and unsure of where to start.
Confused, I glanced at the loan agreement and murmured, I guess I need to repay this debt. Should I transfer it to the account listed here?
That's when it happened.
Absolutely not.
Sophia shouted beside me. Looking at her face, it was stern.
But what should I do?
As I muttered, Sophia smiled and said, "Don't worry. I've got it covered." I was puzzled by her unusual demeanor. Later, I took Sophia and returned to my parents' house. After hearing the situation, my father was furious at Nicholas but told me, "Don't pay a single penny of that debt. The moment you do, you'll be obliged to pay as the cosigner."
Don't pay a single penny of that debt. The moment you do, you'll be obliged to pay as the cosigner.
His words made me relieved that I had hastily repaid the debt.
My mother also advised me, it's tough, but don't rush into a divorce. Settle the debt issue first. But your health comes first. Once you're well, then you can think about the future.
I nodded in agreement. I decided to rest at my parents' house, and strangely, from that day on, the spots on my skin began to fade and my health improved. The nightmares stopped, I slept well, and my appetite returned.
Why am I getting better? Is it the environment here?
I wondered, planning to look for Nicholas once fully recovered.
However, about a week after arriving at my parents' house, Nicholas suddenly showed up, banging on the gate, shouting, "It's me! You're here, right?"
Hesitantly, I went to the entrance and was shocked to see Nicholas. He was in a pitiful state, resembling how I looked a week before. His face was covered in spots, his body emaciated, his hair messy and partly bald, as he looked just like me a week before. I muttered to myself, forgetting my anger at Nicholas.
What happened to you?
He explained, this started happening gradually about a week ago. He hadn't been able to sleep, and these large spots started appearing all over his body. He felt terrible every day, dizzy and unwell. Despite going to the hospital, they couldn't find the cause, and she's in the same condition. he said and pointed to her next to him.
Nicholas's mistress, standing next to him, was just as wretched looking as him.
Who's she?
My girlfriend.
Girlfriend? Is she the one you're having an affair with?
It's not an affair. She's my serious partner. We've been in love for a while.
That's called an affair.
Ignoring my comment, Nicholas continued.
However, we can't live like this. So, I came here to talk to you, hoping to find some clue to cure this illness. He then scrutinized me. You seem to have recovered. How did you do it? Tell me.
At that moment, Sophia, standing beside me, addressed Nicholas and his mistress.
Dad lady, you cussed Mom, right? That's the cause.
Their faces twisted in shock, and his mistress yelled, "How did you know that?" When I asked for an explanation, his mistress confessed, "Nicholas and I tried a curse method we found online on you. My symptoms were because of a curse." I exclaimed in surprise.
Yeah. The old lady told me Mom was cursed, and I asked what should I do. Then she said I'll return the curse. Turning to Nicholas and his mistress, Sophia said, "Just like the old lady said, the curse came back to you."
His face contorted in anger, and he turned it towards his mistress. This is your fault for doing such a foolish thing as cursing.
You were eager to participate, too.
I never thought it would actually work.
It's your fault for not divorcing your wife sooner. That's why we ended up cursing her.
They started blaming each other.
To the bickering couple, I said, you were having an affair, so pay compensation.
Nicholas yelled back, "We're divorced, so it's not an affair."
I countered, the divorce isn't final, since I haven't submitted this. Showing them the divorce form Nicholas left.
You haven't submitted that yet?
Seeing Nicholas' eyes widen in surprise, I said to him,
You've been having an affair with this woman for over a year, haven't you?
when I showed him a photo of him and his mistress being affectionate. He was shocked and exclaimed,
How did you get that photo? It was in a password-protected folder in our computer.
We used a shared computer, which had password-protected folders. Only Nicholas could open the folders. Sophia answered his question.
The old lady told me, your dad is having an affair. Here's the proof, and gave me the password. She always watches you.
Who is that old lady?
Frustrated, Nicholas asked.
She is your mom. She's his silly son. I raised him wrong.
Nicholas turned pale, and when he tried to lash out at Sophia, saying, "What creepy things are you saying now?"
But then my father pushed him away, shouting, "What are you doing to my granddaughter?" He had been listening to our conversation.
I coldly asked him, weren't you abandoned by your parents?
When I confronted him, unable to say anything and looking down, I told him, I can't believe anything about you anymore. Just pay me compensation and let's get divorced. And I won't pay a penny of your debt.
Frustrated, Nicholas bit his lip and begged, "At least tell me how to break the curse."
I coldly replied, I don't know how, and you're just reaping what you sowed. You brought this upon yourself.
After that, we officially got a divorce. I'm now living peacefully with Sophia at my parents' home.
I agonized over whether to let Sophia see Nicholas after the divorce, but she said she didn't want to see him, so I respected her decision.
However, sometime after the divorce, Nicholas showed up at our home again.
"I'm sorry for everything. I want to be with Claire and Sophia again."
Though he recovered enough to work, his appearance, worsened by the incident, never returned to normal, and he's reportedly struggling with the whispers about his looks at work. On top of that, he's living in near poverty, burdened by the compensation, debt repayment, and child support. His mistress and he rapidly grew apart after the curse incident and recently split up.
Hearing this, I felt nothing but that he got what he deserved. My father coldly told him, "Just go away."
"Please, I have nowhere else to go."
Attempting to cling to me, he was pushed away by my father. My father and I said to Nicholas, "You don't belong here. Leave now."
We'll call the police.
Nicholas wept, "No way."
6 months later, I asked Sophia about her grandma.
Grandma is there, and she gave me the address of the grave where her grandmother was buried.
I then went to the grave with Sophia. We met a man there, and he asked us in a puzzled tone, "Who are you?"
Upon learning I was Nicholas's ex-wife, he was shocked.
He was married. I didn't know that.
The man was Nicholas's brother, John. John revealed that Nicholas's story about being abandoned by his parents was a complete lie. Nicholas had incurred a large debt around college graduation, and fled after making his mother a co-signer. His mother worked tirelessly to repay the debt and eventually passed away due to overwork.
I was appalled, having sympathized with Nicholas's fabricated story of abandonment to win my sympathy.
I realized leaving him was the right decision. The grandma Sophia saw was indeed Nicholas's real mother, advising against paying his debts, likely due to her own experience. I'm grateful to my unseen Mill for her guidance. Over the years, Sophia has grown up healthily and has turned 10 this year. It seems she no longer sees her grandmother or talks to unseen people, nor does she make faces as if someone else has taken over her. But Sophia tells me she feels someone warmly watching over her even now. I'm deeply grateful to my Mill, who I believe still watches over Sophia.